Hello and welcome to the recording. Your focus here will be on the design of the outside of the bag. The bag will be made of calico fabric, but as we've said before, you can add a design to the front and the back to add some colour and some texture. So what is design? Design is the process, the planning process of looking at the function of something before it's made as a physical item. So in terms of sewing, design will help us to create, combine colour, shape, texture, and actually to give it purpose and meaning as well. Some key things to think about when you're entering into the world of design. You could trace the key shapes, from your mood board, trace them onto like an A4 sheet of paper. This will create a design, and then you could experiment with different layouts to see which of the compositions that you like. Think about the front and the back, but don't overlay too many textures because then it will get too busy. If you like to sketch, that could be an option for you. Create 2 or 3 sketches, even if they're like small post-it notes. These are all sketches. Consider things like applique or embellishments, all these extra things. You might want to buy buttons, you might want to make patches, you could make some samples, you could place the samples on top of the design, photograph those as an idea, and then look at the photographs, and it will help you to figure out the overall design style and design direction that you're going to go in as well. You could cut out some paper shapes, as we can see with one of the previous students here. You could make pockets, panels. These could all be all extra features. You could move them around to change the layout. And like I say, photograph all these ideas as well. This process is meant to be fun, so there is no right and wrong way with it. Just enjoy it and go with it, even if it feels frustrating. And also, if it feels overwhelming, you've just got to embrace that. Other techniques that you could explore: you could use colour pencils, you could use pens, you could use paint, you could use natural dyeing processes, you could create fabric collages, you could even use digital design. So, Canva. Canva also has an app that you can download on your phone. You can also use it through the PC. I'm using Canva as we speak at the moment. And also you could use the free option. You could layer, you could build your design on Canva, on the app, and then you could print it off at the center, and then you could trace out some elements as well. So that would give you some options to play with, and you could also add some mixed media on top of that as well. Something to think about: please refer back to the portfolio checklist. I noticed that majority of you are not referring back to it, and it is a critical part of the course and the qualification. And I designed that handout to help you. So a part of the portfolio checklist, as I've highlighted here, you've got your mood board. You're expected to make minimum 3 designs. And one of those 3 should be then your final design. And I would add notes to explain your choices, or, if you go in a different design direction, just say that, because even though we have that conversation, the other colleagues are going to look at the portfolios, like the external verifier, and she or he needs to know exactly where you're coming from. And that's part of the story that we're building at the moment. So make sure the design sheets, no matter how big, how small, whether you use them or not, they all go into your portfolio. Once you've started working out this design or this final design, you're then going to need to start planning. And planning is a really important part. So I've designed this handout, which is a project planner. And you're going to use this project planner to help you build the design together. So, for example, if we think about it, you're going to need to think about any fabrics, any threads, notions in the sense of buttons, all those things that you've put into your design. You then need to start planning in this project planner. So, for example, if you decide that you're going to add pleating to your design, you might want to experiment with different sized pleating, to work out whether they go with your overall design choice. But also, um, that will tell you how much fabric you're going to need, and you're going to need to think about lining. And as we've said, any other embellishments. And all this information needs to be documented on the project planner. Also, start to think about the order of how you're going to put the design together. So, work it out in paper. How is this all going to come together? Which order are you going to start with? You need to write yourself some step by steps. I can't do that for you because your design is going to be unique to you. And also, your project planner, I'm going to need to see that because I need to know how much fabric to cut you. And this will start to help, it will all start to make sense. Week 5 is when you start making the bag. So all this information needs to be done by then. And the last thing to say is make it meaningful. You're exploring this new process. We're building this story together. So make sure it comes from the heart. Stitch over the paper, the sheets if you want to. Add pockets, add fabric to the portfolio. The main thing is that, you're telling the story and we want to see that you've enjoyed the process. So be bold and be thoughtful with it. And final thing to say is that I hope that you're able to get some enjoyment out of this, and I hope that these slides have been useful for you. And I'll see you in the next one.